Open your phone on any given Tuesday, and you are immediately buried under an avalanche of systemic failures, sensationalized headlines, and bureaucratic red tape. The human brain simply lacks the bandwidth to process an endless feed of existential threats. Faced with this constant barrage of grim traditional reporting, we tend to hit a psychological wall. We disengage, we tune it out. Eventually, the sheer, sprawling mess of modern political reality stops looking like a functioning society and starts resembling a poorly written, incredibly bleak comedy. This leaves us with a serious structural problem. If the electorate is entirely burned out, how do you get anyone to actually pay attention to the people in charge? You stop asking them to take it seriously. You lean into the ridiculousness, and you make the absurdity itself the punchline. Mindless internet humor serves a surprisingly precise function. Creators use targeted digital satire as a cognitive tool, slicing right through the paralyzing noise of broken systems. To expose the flaws of authority, you first mimic how authority sounds. Satirists do this by hijacking the exact formats that deliver our serious information. Look closely at a traditional news broadcast. The sweeping desks, glowing graphics, and sterile lighting grids are designed to project unquestionable seriousness. Digital outlets like The Onion or New Zealand's The Civilian take that exact aesthetic, the corporate fonts, the heavy desks, the anchor's rigid posture, and copy it flawlessly. They then deploy deadpan irony, delivering completely fictional, bizarre news updates without ever dropping that stolen veil of journalistic gravity. By treating the trivial with intense gravity and the catastrophic with total indifference, this deadpan delivery highlights exactly how manufactured and empty endless media sensationalism actually is. By treating the state's maze-like architecture and endless parliamentary procedures like a dry joke, they strip away the intimidating aura of the political process. By wearing the clothes of traditional reporting, these digital parodies bypass our usual defenses. They trick the brain into paying close attention to reality's actual flaws before we even realize we're being informed. This sleight of hand works because it exploits a specific quirk in human psychology, turning our deep political frustration into a powerful hook for engagement. It relies on the core mechanic of irony, a deliberate widening gap between what the speaker is literally saying and the hidden truth they mean. To get the joke, you must actively connect those dots and close that gap in your own mind. This contrasts sharply with traditional news consumption, which often leaves viewers sitting passively while anchors read a numbing litany of daily tragedies. Online creators like the host of White Man Behind a Desk rely on this mental leap. They use it to unpack dense, dry issues like systemic political accountability, making the information highly digestible because the viewer actively participates. When irony isn't enough, satirists turn to their next tool, extreme exaggeration. They inflate a complex problem to such absurd proportions that audiences are jolted out of their daily complacency. Panel shows like New Zealand's 7 Days stretch deeply frustrating local news through rapid-fire exaggeration, forcing viewers to find the comedy in situations that would otherwise just make them angry. This tactic blankets internet culture. Every day, memes use that same hyperbolic scale to mock our collective behavioral obsessions, holding up a funhouse mirror to our endless scrolling on social media. None of this diminishes the severity of the issues at hand. By demanding that we unpack the irony and process the exaggeration, the comedy forces us to mentally invest in the truth. When the laughter fades, the viewer is left with a residue of clarity about the systems they inhabit. Decoding digital satire is an act of rebellion. You are engaging in an active critique of established societal norms and the authority figures who uphold them. By dismantling the heavy, serious barriers around these topics, terrifying concepts like systemic corruption, unchecked bureaucracy, or the threat of failure suddenly become approachable enough to actually discuss. Modern digital platforms serve as high-speed laboratories for this process, instantly testing and scaling these moments of awareness to millions of viewers at once. A meme that resonates does so because it identifies a specific friction between a policy and the reality of the people living under it. Engaging with these formats allows the public to pinpoint exactly where the systems around them are failing. When you share that satirical video with a friend, you shatter the isolating, lonely barrier of political fatigue and replace it with a sense of communal awareness. Converting our collective frustration into shareable digital awareness makes irony a functional tool for highlighting political absurdity at scale.